gold medal match field, we do have some indicators. We have flags all around, but if you are looking down there as an archer, what are the things you're looking for to kind of get an idea of which way your arrow is going to be drifting?
So primarily you're looking to see which direction the wind's coming from. So obviously we've got a right to left wind coming across. Next you're going to be looking at the speed at which the flag is whipping, so that you can get a read on how far to aim off in that direction. And the third thing you're going to be looking for is whether that flag is tailing towards you or away, so that you can get a judge for elevation as well, because the wind, when it's blowing this hard, can definitely affect an arrow's height as well as its impact left and right.
I mean, how do you even figure that out, Braden? Is it just experience, or?
Honestly, it's a lot of experience. There's no mathematical way to tell, how hard the flag's whipping to where to aim, and anytime there's a difference in feet per second for the speed of the bow, that's going to make an adjustment as well.
The USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open gold medal match between Chrissy Lyons and Claire Z. As we head into our fourth end, Claire Z has an opportunity here to walk away with a gold medal. If she can close this out, it'll be 6-2, Claire. So here we go.
Right, so we need a tie or a win for Chrissy to move into set 4. Move into set 5, sorry.
Yeah, set 5, that's right. Second shot clock. Chrissy trying to get set. There's only 8 seconds remaining on the clock for her. She draws back with 6, 4, 3, and she launches it. And still, I think that with the amount of time running off the clock to get that 8-7 line, Claire Z has paused because her clock hasn't actually started yet, so it's still hung up on 20 seconds. So technically, by the rules, it would be a violation if she shot before the clock started.
Correct. So she's going to wait for that light to turn green and her clock to start counting down before she's going to lose her arrow.
You can see the flags at the top of those, above the 1 and the 2. So there's been a pause in action, as there's just a slight pause with the actual scoring system, which honestly, with the amount of rain we've had here and the amount of electronic devices that are on this course, doesn't surprise me that there's a glitch in the system. So
here we go, we're back to action.
Left-hand part of your screen, you can see that shot clock.
Beautiful, she's on a tear.
Braden and I both look at each other and are just shaking our head in just amazement of how great Claire Z is shooting. Even if there wasn't wind, she's still putting up an incredible score.
Chrissy's got a great group up there. Just needs to make the adjustment to aim a little further to the left. But it's tough to keep up with a competitor that's on a roll like that.
Trying to make it 2 in a row for Claire Z from Texas. Chrissy Lyons trying to extend this match. She's got to put it in the middle. Oh, it drops that one into the 7 ring. This could be it for Claire Z. The gold medal shot.
5 or better.
And she does it.
Incredible.
A 9. And a big smile from Claire Z. We'll have to go down and confirm those scores. But as Claire is now getting confirmation that she just wrapped up the gold medal.
You could tell she was so zoned in and focused just on the process itself. She wasn't even aware that the tournament was over.
So judge will go down and confirm those scores. So Claire Z, back-to-back nationals, stormed onto the scene with hardly any experience. A competitive firearm shooter in her day. Has now got another gold medal. USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open for bare bow. We await official confirmation, where just off to Claire Z's left is an official judge that will get the word from our scorers table. There we go. An applause from the crowd and official confirmation that Claire Z wins the gold medal. And in her very first effort, first ever 50-meter match, Chrissy Lyons will have silver medal and get to stand on the podium later on today. Well, Braden, our first match is in the books, and even in these conditions, I mean, really grateful that the rain has stopped, at least for the moment, because it is all around us.
Right.
And now Claire Z is joining us. Claire, congratulations on an outstanding shoot. That was unbelievable. How did you pull that out after that first end? You seem to really have figured out the wind.
Yeah, I was trying to compensate the wind and the rain, so I aimed too high. And for the second one and third end, I just aimed lower.
You seemed awfully happy. You had some smiles on your face in those ends. Did you surprise yourself at some of the shots you were making, and especially those ones in the X-ring? I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yes, I was surprised, considering I don't have enough practice for the whole year.
And how do you feel back-to-back champ?
I feel it's incredible. To be honest, I didn't expect this.
Well, you did it. Congratulations.
Thank
and it was
you.
exciting to watch. Thanks so much, and congratulations on your gold.
Thank you.
Braden, you've been in those shoes before.
Yeah, it's always exciting, and a lot of times it feels more like a relief than an exhilaration.
So there is the women's barebow. Gold medal decided. Congratulations to Claire Z on an outstanding performance. And Chrissy Lyons will remember this one as her first 50-meter scoring tournament, where she put on a tremendous performance as well.
Every detail matters. Boning premium points are precision crafted. For arrows that spin true and fly clean and stable, time after time.
Established in a small town in 1981. A company that produces quality products that archers have come to rely on. I started shooting with a Scott release and have passed the tradition on. My dad always told me, never forget where you came from. Well, I haven't. Shoot with confidence. Shoot a Scott.
Welcome back to the USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open from Richmond, Virginia. in what in absolute moments has turned into a sunny day. I don't even know what's going on. Greg White along with Braden Galantine.
Yeah, there's some yellow orb in the sky poking through, and I'm not sure what it is.
When we shot this morning at 8 a.m., Braden, it rained for the entire time we were there, and sometimes absolute downpour.
Conservatively, we got an inch of rain this morning.
Conservatively, at 100%. But now we are setting the stage for our bare bow men's gold medal match here in Richmond, Virginia. And we have two of the biggest powerhouses in bare bow men's competition, John Demmer and John Dillinger. So you can see John Demmer already lined up to take his first shot. As Demmer launches his arrow down, he scores a 9. Now, Braden, these two archers are standing how far away, shooting at what target?
So this is a 50-meter competition at a 122-centimeter target face. This is your standard 70-meter target face for the Olympic recurve shooters.
And of course, this is the U.S. Open, and 2 days before was the 136th USA Archery Target Nationals. Those were two 72 arrow scoring days, and then they ranked each competitor in their respective divisions, and they shot elimination, single round elimination, to get to this gold medal match. So Demmer starts off strong with 3 9s. Dillinger
Need a 10 here to tie the set. Just off left. So we get 2 set points for John Demmer.
So Demmer takes an early lead, and in this competition we will see judges go down to confirm the scores. Now, Braden, while this scoring is going on, which is very standard across World Archery, USA Archery, and a bunch of other the countries do it this way, especially this 50-meter competition, 70-meter competition we'll have later on. As a shooter, are you trying to take advantage of these moments? Are you trying to calm your nerves? Like, what are you doing in between these sets?
So a lot of times the archer will come back, talk to their coach about what they were seeing with the wind, what they did to make adjustments, and it's a chance to talk through your mental approach and the changes you've made, and have somebody else, you know, be inside your head as well and bounce ideas off you. So it's a chance to just kind of regroup, refocus, and go out and make, hopefully, improvements to shoot better the next time.
And if you're new to archery, this is bare bow competition, and you're hearing us talk about bare bow because we're literally describing the type of equipment they're using to shoot arrows.
Correct. A bare bow is exactly what it sounds like. It's a bow and arrows, and that's it. So when you'll see later with the recurve archers or the compound archers, they'll have stabilizers coming off the front to help with overall stabilization of the bow. They'll have sights that they can make adjustments to hit the middle. With a bare bow, they're shooting not instinctively, but they only have the arrow or an alignment piece on their bow to aim with.
An outstanding way for any beginning archer to come into the sport of archery. It can be definitely very cost effective for a lot of people to get into archery. For a lot of people out there that are watching that may be new to archery, this is something that you have seen before, maybe even have tried in camp. And this is the highest level in the United States. You're seeing the U.S. Open Championship as John Dillinger, who is now 0-2 over Demmer, will start us off. 50 meters, close to 55 yards. It was a beautiful shot in a 122 centimeter target face. That's standard across all countries, including World Archery.
And what an answer.
Oh boy. You can see the X scores. That's that smaller ring inside the 10 ring. Count that as an X.
Whoa. 10. Very impressive. Okay.
Doors open.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so a 9 scored there. So
John can glitch the set, bring it to 2-2 with the 10 here. Clean shot. Oh, just off left.
that might have been just a smidge of wind, as the wind is blowing from right to left.
Correct.
For the tie.
Yeah, he had a little hitch on the back half there. You could see it like a second guess. Maybe his alignment wasn't right where he wanted it to be when he was ready to fire. So he might have just, held on to it for a second longer, brought it closer to where he wanted to execute.
You could see Demmer peeking into a spotting scope.
Correct. He's using the spotting scope to see his arrows. The spotting scope magnifies between 20 and 60 power. It's a chance to really see the arrows as if you were downrange.
So as we wait for official confirmation, we can see that John Demmer and John Dillinger, who have been in this position many times as competitors over the years, are going to be all tied up at 2-2. Now, here's something that's unique that our viewers cannot feel, Braden, is we are in a makeshift canopy area with some walls around us because of the rain that we had earlier today. With the sun out, all of a sudden the heat has absolutely skyrocketed.
Right, the humidity's through the roof. You can definitely feel it.
Yeah, and does humidity or heat affect the way an arrow can fly through the air?
Humidity definitely has an effect on the wind itself. So obviously with humidity, air density, it makes the air heavier. And whenever the wind is blowing a heavier air, you're going to have more wind drift. So that's another thing these guys need to pay attention to. As the humidity goes up, they may be seeing an extra inch and a half of drift at 50 meters.
And what's at stake, of course, is the gold medal for the USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open. We shoot elimination matches. When we get to this point, you're guaranteed a silver medal. But anyone who gets to this point is not resting on their laurels and not saying, it doesn't really matter. I'll just go ahead and settle for silver and just shoot whatever I can shoot and see what happens. This is competition as deep as it gets. John Demmer, the third, back to full draw, and we'll send our first arrow down for our third set, and he starts off solidly with a 10. Now John Dillinger.
Oh, an 8 left.
That is not the answer he was looking for.
Another
10.
It looks like he's zoned in now. The shots are breaking really quick, really fast, strong. Oh, there it is again. But you notice he doesn't have a single arrow to the right of center.
Yeah, that is true.
John's starting to really feel it. John Demmer's starting to really feel it right now. You can tell with the way his shot's breaking, and he clinches the set to go 4-2.
Not enough points available left for Dillinger to outscore, but
you still want to shoot that arrow to learn more and get better prepared for the following end.
man,
This is some really impressive shooting.
it really is.
And if you notice the cadence of the shooters, it's really quick, it's really fast, it's a really consistent rhythm. And that's another really important thing to be doing with recurve or compound in any discipline. Anytime you can control those forces a little bit more, the pressures in your push and your pull, you're going to get a more consistent impact downrange.
How do you do that in practice, though? When you're on your own, would you practice your own rhythm or cadence, or is there times when you would practice different types to kind of see where you would excel at different rhythms?
So I'm a compound shooter, and our shots are really depicted and controlled by the sight picture. So I need to have a really solid sight picture before I can start executing a shot. So for me, I find the most consistent part of my aim, so for me it's between 3 and 5 seconds. So I want to be breaking my shot between 3 and 5 seconds. So when I'm training, I really focus hard on my timing of breaking, 90-95% of my shots within that time frame.
Possibility for John Demmer on target number 1 to close out the gold medal match. At the bottom of those targets, you can see that there was a number 2, and there's also a number 4 down there. That indicates to the shooter a good look at our wind and what these shooters are dealing with. A good look at what they're having to deal with, but it also indicates to them their set points. And so John Demmer will shoot second. Oh, great shot by Dillinger.
Oh, got a low left 7 there from Demmer.
Ooh, that was a bit of a miscue. And now there's an opportunity for John Dillinger to grab these 2 points back if he can just keep that rhythm going.
Clean shot. Ooh. That was surprising to see.
It looked like he was in his rhythm as well, so... But again, this is barebow. Anything can happen.
Right.
And that just happened. Demmer knows that he's got an opportunity, but currently Dillinger up by 1 point. So there's an opportunity here.
Yeah, so if Demmer shoots a 9, we're going to go to 5-3. It'll be a tie. If he shoots a 10, he wins. So we're tied 4-4.
Wow. And you could see on his face, the moment he let that go, He had that look on his face like, uh-oh.
Right.
And we've all been there behind the post.
So that was either like a sight picture malfunction where he wasn't able to release where he wanted to because of the wind, or it was just not a clean shot. There may be a little too different finger pressure, or different follow through with his bow hand. Could have been a number of things.
Barebow senior men gold medal match. And number 4. And we're going to be all tied up in this one. Now, Braden, let's talk about the senior designation in Barebow senior men.
Right.
USA Archery has a variety of designations. There's juniors, masters. What does seniors cover?
Senior covers up to 50 years old. Traditionally, it's 21 to 50 years old, but if anyone's younger, they can always shoot up a division. Or if you're 50 plus, you can shoot down a division and compete with senior. But senior is the bulk of competition.
And also where we find really the peak athletes at their peak performance, isn't it? I mean, that's really where we're seeing a lot of that.
Exactly. Anytime you have a hot junior shooter, you'll see them shooting up and shooting in the senior division because it's the division with most accolades.
And because of COVID-19 and a variety of situations all over the United States, we saw the JOAD, which Junior Olympic Archery Development Tournament, canceled. So I saw Nathan Zimmerman here, a competitor who's 15 years old and was competing.
Right. There were a lot of young talent here this weekend, and I believe one of the junior shooters finished 4th place for the senior men's compound, which was very impressive.
A lot of young talent coming up, trying to knock Braden Galantine off of his perch in compound. Man, how do you continue to keep your level so incredibly high, Braden?
It's a struggle. When you're trying to get to the peak, you always have someone in mind, someone to beat. And then when you get there, you see these young kids coming up, and it's like, man, I have to stay ahead of them.
It's kind of where we are with John Dillinger and John Demmer. John Demmer has been the standout in men's barebow in the United
States.
He's the
Tiger Woods.
He is, absolutely. And so we're getting to see him at his peak performance. But John Dillinger trying to snatch gold right out of Demmer's hand.
And he's got the lead.
So we're at 4-4. How do you see this match playing out? What's the possibilities?
Well, if they end up tied, which Demmer just did his darndest to get back to the tie, 9 here would set the match even with an arrow to go. We'll go to a single arrow shoot-off like we talked about. There's 9, so we're tied up with 1 arrow to go. Demmer's experience definitely gives him the edge with a single arrow here.
Big gust, and he's still able to pull it off.
Very impressive.
And he knows it. So John Dillinger has got to shoot a 10 to keep this going. He does!
Yes, 28-28. We're going to a single arrow. That's incredibly... It's hard enough to shoot a 10, in your backyard, but to need it to force a shoot-off is a whole different story, especially in these conditions. It's incredibly impressive.
And two sets of emotion as John Demmer, with a smile on his face back at his target as we take a look at the arrow impacts.
His smile is more in disbelief than anything
Isn't
else.
it, right? Because Braden, right, you throw that 10 down there and you're like, oh, dude.
It's on.
It's on, right?
Right, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this guy right here answers it, and you're just like, you got to be kidding me. I had that gold in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
What a beautiful shot. Look at him just staring it down.
At that point, he's just willing it in the middle.
Unbelievable. So with that tie, the first tie we've seen per end, a little bit of relief in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Okay. 1 arrow.
1 arrow closest to center. If both athletes shoot a 10, they'll shoot a second arrow.
You've been in this pressure situation before. What are the things that are going through your mind now?
You have every
ready?
negative thought going through your mind, and you also have it's your opportunity to replace them with positive. So for me, I have my own personal mantra where I'm saying, don't think, just shoot. And I tell myself that every time I draw a bow. So it's just kind of an opportunity to try to get back to your roots and focus on the form and the process and allow your arrow to land the best that it can.
A single arrow, 4 gold, and the title of USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open champion. Will these two drag this out to 1 more arrow, or will one of them grab it? So there's the bar being set. Now it's going to be closest to the center, wins it all.
And there
it
it
is. Wow. So how about that? In 2 arrows, a shift to John Dillinger, as applause from John Demmer as we go, and we'll confirm it, but we can clearly see it from here. It's not a very close call on this one, but the officials have to take a look, and they're not going to declare that John Dillinger takes victory and gold and is now USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open champion. Two friendly competitors, and really, Braden, if you look at that entire match, it comes down to that 2 arrows ago, that 10 that Dillinger needed.
Right, I think Dillinger really, he just stole the momentum at that point. He seized his opportunity and just kind of rode it out to the championship.
So when it's all said and done, we'll be able to look back on this match, and John Demmer was able to grab points first, 27 to 26 points, and then Dillinger came back in the second end, 29 to 27, to grab his 2 points. In the third end, it was John Demmer who was able to go up 29 to 28, and in the fourth, 25 from Dillinger to Demmer's 22, and then we went to that 28-28, and now John Dillinger gets to go put the headset on and have a little chit-chat with us. What a match that was. Incredible. Still more matches to come as John Dillinger is now on the headset. John, Greg White here. Congratulations. What an outstanding match. Tell me about it.
Thank you. I've been working hard for this for a while. I mean, last year it came down to a 1-arrow shoot-off also, and he got me by, I think he shot a 10 or an X, and I shot a 9. So this is great. So.
Tell me about the pressure of that second to last arrow. You had to have that 10. Were you aware that you had to have that 10 to drag this thing out to a 1-arrow shoot-off?
I didn't know the exact score, but I knew he shot a solid end, and I knew I had to shoot a 10, and I got a little lucky. With this wind, you never know, and it just fell in, so I'll take it.
So now you get this redemption. How are you feeling inside?
Oh, it feels great. You know, I get a dimmer dollar.
You get a dimmer dollar. Explain that.
We usually bet $1 on these tournaments. It's either Lancaster or Vegas or this shoot, and the winner gets a signed dollar. They usually put a little note on it. So this will be my second dimmer dollar. He has a few more than a couple. So.
Well, congratulations. I don't know what's more in your heart, the gold medal or the dimmer dollar, but
they're both great. I would call it about equal. So anytime you can beat that guy is a good day.
Well, congratulations, man. It was outstanding to watch. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. So there you go. Men's barebow, and it came down to a single arrow shoot-off in changing conditions. The sun was out at the beginning, and then the clouds came back over, and the wind started blowing, and it was down to just a single arrow closest to the center that decided gold. More coming at you from Richmond, Virginia. USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open rolls on.
From the world's most challenging archery tournaments to the bow hunter's heart-pounding moment of truth, America's best bowstrings are designed to improve your bow's performance. With rigorous product testing and extreme attention to detail, experience the best custom threads on the planet, and you'll understand why we say peace of mind is priceless.
Announcing the new patent-pending CarboFlax stabilizers. A biocomposite blend of carbon and flax. Flax plant yields a natural fiber with very advanced properties. Flax offers 3 times the vibration dampening of glass and 20% more than carbon. Natural composites are up to 15% lower weight than carbon fiber. TrueBall Excel. We make archery better.
That's a good feeling to know I can make this bow do whatever I want it to do and it will react.
This thing is so much more stable and
It just controls an arrow so well. Coolest part about it is all you need is a Torx wrench and a couple of Allen wrenches, and you can just stand there on the line. You don't have to run in and put it in the press and move those shims. This is a dream to work with right now.
Welcome back to the USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open in Richmond, Virginia. We are set for another gold medal match. Greg White sitting alongside Braden Galantine, multi-time world champ in compound archery, as we are ready for the compound senior women's gold medal match. And our number one qualifier heading into this one is Toya Ellison out of Arizona. And Toya, for a lot of people, she is eligible by the rules to compete in the United States, as this particular tournament didn't have anyone from the United States, and she is our first qualifier, and she'll be shooting against Paige Pierce out of California, as Paige is trying to figure some things out. As Toya,
frustrated by the wind already and hasn't even shot an arrow.
Wow.
Great start. Great start.
It is windy here. The clouds have covered up, and the wind is starting to pick up again.
Wow.
And Paige with a solid 10. Braden Galantine, this is your wheelhouse, compound archery, man. What are you doing to compensate for this wind that's blowing pretty harshly from the right to the left?
Right, so the archers have three real choices to deal with the wind. They can click their sight so that they aim in the middle. They can bubble their sight, which means you're leaning your top cam into the wind to try to manipulate the direction of the arrow. Or you can aim off, which means you can guess where the arrow would land downwind and aim the appropriate distance upwind, so the arrow still strikes the middle.
And this is different scoring than we've seen so far in bare bow competition.
Correct. Toya is bubbling over. You can see that her bubble's laying over on the left side. Where Paige, you could see she was kind of confused when she first got out there and reefed on her sight so that she's aiming in the middle.
There you go, back on track. Now, this is different scoring than we've seen before. Tell us what it's about.
So we're still at 50 meters, but now we're running an 80 centimeter target, so that the 10 ring is about 2/3 the size as we saw with the 122.
And scoring is cumulative scoring?
Correct.
Throughout the entire match?
5 sets of 3 arrows. So before we saw set points being doled out each end. This, you see 29-28, and that is your score.
So really, if you look at it for Paige Pierce, yes, she lost that single point with, over Toya with that 8, but it is not absolute disaster just yet.
Exactly. She has, 12 more opportunities to pick up that single point. And in this wind, there should be a few more points up for grabs.
Now, so far in the USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open, we've seen bare bow competition, but when we come to compound bows, the speed of these arrows can really make a difference in terms of how you aim the bow. Is that correct?
Right, exactly. The speed of the arrow dictates and the mass of the arrow dictates how much wind drift you're going to see. So these girls are probably shooting about 250 feet per second, 255 feet per second. Toya may be shooting a little bit faster because she's a strong lady and she shoots about 60 pounds, whereas Paige is shooting around 54 pounds.
Mm-hmm. So here in USA Archery, there is a poundage limit in terms of your peak poundage when you pull the bow back, and that is 60 pounds. So competitors in this category try to keep it at their comfortable level and not obviously at max, because they do check if you want to come out and shoot a USA Archery tournament. Any archer can come on out and shoot it. As long as you have the category that you want for your bow, you can shoot the bare bow, you can shoot Olympic style recurve, which we'll see later on, or of course compound. You can come on out and shoot, and as long as your bow meets the requirements, you're good to go. So Paige Pierce, who's been on an absolute tear over the last, year and a half at least.
Yeah, she's been zoned in.
Has been winning tournaments all over the place. And of course, very interesting times for a lot of us during COVID to continue to stay motivated during those times. Since Paige is at 21 to 29, she starts off. 20-second shot clock, 7 seconds remain.
She's going a little long on this shot.
So she let that one go with 4 seconds on the clock.
Looks like it's a low 9. Still hanging the line. The arrow needs to just touch the line to score the higher value. Clean shot for Toya. It was fast, but Now, in addition to needing to figure out the left and right and, you know, the up and down as far as the headwind tailwind's concerned, they also have to aim where they want to aim. And as you can see from this video, wow, the wind is really affecting Paige. Affecting her, but not affecting the result.
I guess not. A good solid low X. And of course, the X has the same value as the 10.
It's just used for tiebreakers, for world records or things like that, but not for the actual match. What a shot from Toya.
Great shot. So far in our second end of competition, all tied up at 19 apiece. And looks like she's
got the 10 there. As you can see from her follow through, that arrow broke a little bit low left of where she wanted it, but with the English and the follow through, she's able to save the shot. Good shot for Toya, another 10.
Well, you could just see the way that she went through her shot cycle, that she was confident.
Yeah, you can really tell a lot by the form and the follow through of the archer. If it's, you know, powerful and directive, you know that it was a clean shot and it was what they were expecting, so it's probably going to land close to the middle. And then when you see someone with the corrective follow through, you can make a guess as to where, you know, where they threw their arm into where the arrow was going to impact.
Compound senior women gold medal match finals for the 2020 USA Archery U.S. Open. Another look at Paige Pierce on her release.
It looks for this end, it's a 29-29, so this will be a 1-point advantage for Toya, and Paige will be shooting first in the third end.
We have 5 ends of competition. If we get to the end of that, if we get to the end of the 5th end and we have a tie score, then what happens?
Then we'll be shooting a single arrow closest to center. Unlike barebow or recurve, both archers would need to shoot an X to force a second arrow.
And if you're looking at the targets, you can see the 10 ring, but inside that 10 ring is a fainter, smaller circle, and that is the X ring. So Toya Ellison, who has been in the United States, is married, of course, to Brady Ellison, Olympic recurve standout, who has been on an absolute rip himself. They've been shooting a ton. And really, we could see on social media that Toya Ellison was getting prepared to come shoot this tournament. As you know, thinking back to it, Braden, if you really think about it, the last time we were able to shoot outdoor USA Archery was really close to 11 months ago.
That's true. It's incredible to think of it that way.
So, you know,
normally outdoor season starts in April.
Right. And so if you think about it from that perspective, is there a difference between coming to a USA Archery event and shooting in competition for a national title or for a gold medal or whatever, as opposed to sitting on your practice range and just shooting 50 meters?
Oh, absolutely. Your form, your timing, the conditions, it's stuff you can't duplicate at home. So normally by the time we're shooting nationals, everybody's, you know, shot the entire season and they're at the peak of their games, whereas this is kind of like the start. And it's so strange to be starting where we're normally finishing the season.
For Paige Pierce, you can see in her right hand she has a thumb trigger release, something new for her. She's been shooting wrist release and a variety of other releases over the years.
So both of these athletes are actually using a thumb trigger. So they draw back, they place their thumb on the trigger, and they pull with their thumb until the shot breaks. When we see the men's compound shooting later, they're going to be shooting back tension releases, which are basically firing off of a lever.
So a little off to the right.
Strong shot for Paige. I think the wind may have died down a little bit.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Looking at the flags downrange from our vantage point, you can see that the wind has died down a little and shifted a smidge, and oof.
Just off left. She could tell that it broke a little bit further than she wanted to.
So currently a 2-point advantage for Toya Ellison, our #1 qualifier, coming into this event.
There, Paige made the proper adjustments and was able to come through with a good 10 there.
Absolutely dead center.
Toya can take a commanding lead here, 2 points with a 10 here. Oh, just to the right, so she's noticing the same thing Paige did. With that right impact as the wind's getting a little less. So that's probably why that low left arrow hit closer to the 10 than she was expecting.
Yeah, and you could kind of see too, right at the end of that shot process, that she wasn't as confident as she was. Toya Ellison, we're talking about, on that initial release.
She looked incredibly confident. She, you know, nodded her head as if it was going there. So I think that arrow really landed as a shock for her.
So another unique thing about Toya Ellison shooting,
yes,
she's currently pregnant.
Yes.
And so she's out here competing, and boy, I'll tell you what, the pregnancy doesn't seem to make any difference to her
No,
at
it hasn't
all.
slowed her down at all. She's coming off the win at OPA, and I mean, just last week she was posting videos of the baby kicking in her stomach. So it's like it's crazy that she's clearly it's making a big effect on her life at home, and just to be able to keep up the training schedule that she has, it's really impressive. So you can see the nod. She thought she had that arrow right in the middle, and running into the same thing Paige did.
It is baffling too, isn't it? When a shot, as we say in archery, breaks perfectly and everything feels great, and you just think, oh, that one's just headed for the middle, and it doesn't land there. It just baffles you, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I had an arrow in qualification where I thought I shot a 10. I aimed, I saw the wind coming right to left. I aimed towards the right 9/8 line, and my arrow landed left 8. So I had about 20 inches of drift on that single shot, which was just mind-blowing to me.
Sheesh. I think it needs to be noted. Congratulations to you on your bronze medal.
Thank you. Yes, it was a difficult morning, but I'm glad to have come through the way I did.
So bronze medal for Braden Galantine as we are headed to our 4th of 5 ends in the compound senior women category, the gold medal match to be decided between Toya Ellison, who has a 2-point lead over Paige Pierce. Paige will start first with that robin's egg colored bow. She's had a couple of those.
I remember when she first had one sent out, it was kind of the color. It was a take it or leave it color, and it's definitely grown on me.
And me too. Definitely a fan favorite, and part of why archery is such a great experience. As she
Good
sends
10.
one down, yeah, good 10. Paige always available to talk to fans. Toya Ellison trying to hold that bow as steady as possible in this drifting breeze. So
Generally, as an archer goes longer in the shot, you're going to see an impact switch to the right. It means that they've lost back pressure and they're coming away from their face a little more on the execution itself.
interesting. There's a lot of movement in her bow on that one.
Yeah, the wind's going, and you'll notice that one major difference between their bows is Paige's only has about 4 ounces. No, she's got 18 ounces of front weight now, and Toya's always run about 20 herself. That's just one improvement Paige has made with the heavier bow, mass bow. And you'll notice that her back bars are pointed up, and what that effectively does is shortens the effectiveness of the weights. So she could probably achieve the same balance with a shorter rod.
Ah, gotcha.
So you can see Toya's bubble over on the left side. Too much.
A little bit too much.
28-29, tie ball game.
Wow, just like that. A shift, and we're all tied up. So this is going to make things interesting. Another great shot at how the wind is whipping these flags around. And it's one thing about USA archery competition is when you're actually out on the field of play, not the gold medal match, but the field of play, every target has those flags on them. So it gives you a really good idea when you're competing.
Right, you can see what's coming and what's, how your next shot may be affected, whereas here it's in that moment.
Additionally, on the field of play, if you're shooting regular elimination rounds or you're shooting qualification rounds, USA Archery will provide, kind of in the middle of the field, I guess maybe 25 meters downrange, a windsock.
Correct.
That'll be on each end as well.
Yes.
Because it is interesting, when we shoot out on these open fields, like football field we're on now or soccer fields, you may think wind would blow consistently across 50 meters, but it is not always the case.
You can get some crazy swirls.
Scores being double checked. As from our vantage point, now arrows get pulled, and we'll be heading back to the shooters.
All right, so now Toya will be leading us off.
So we're tied at 114 apiece, heading into our final end of competition. Braden mentioned it before, if we have a tie at the end of this one, we're going to a 1-arrow shoot-off closest to the center, unless each shooter shoots in the X-ring. And then we'll go to a second closest to the center arrow. So an opportunity here for Toya Ellison being your first shooter. You're in this situation. Is that what you prefer? If you're heading in this exact situation we're in, would you like to be the first shooter or the second shooter?
Absolutely, you'd want to be the first shooter. You want to shoot your arrow. You want to put the pressure on the other shooter and just kind of like set the pace. So, I mean, Toya has the advantage no matter what. If she shoots a 10, Paige knows she needs a 10. If she shoots a 9, Paige will start getting in her own head, knowing that she needs a 10 to take the lead or a 9 to tie. So it's like it's complete advantage. There's no thought involved. You just send your arrows the best you can from the first position.
All right, so 10-second clock to indicate you're ready to go. And now her 20 seconds begins. Is Toya Ellison 3 arrows away from gold?
Could hear Brady there. cheering.
Yeah, we could hear her husband say, great shot.
One of those unique voices that always stands out.
And that was exactly the pressure she wanted to put on Paige.
Paige looks pretty steady here. Yeah, good answer. What a reply.
We have got a boxing match going on right now. Toya Ellison gets contact with the barrel of her release. Ooh, it looks like 9/8 liner, so that's going to score the higher value, but
That's a 9. It's about half an inch inside the line.
all right, so the door is open. To capitalize for Paige Pierce, it's got to be in the middle.
It's aiming pretty solid. Yeah, there
Wow.
it is. Another X.
All right.
So now Toya needs a 10 here to put the pressure on Paige because that's a big 9 ring down there.
Oh.
9 at the bottom. So Paige just needs a 9 to win the match.
Wind is still blowing. It can get gusty though for gold. 5 seconds left on the clock. 3. She sends it.
Oh,
in
it's an
at
8. We're going to be shooting off.
It's going to be a shoot off. All she needed to do was put it in the gold. And for Paige Pierce, and we've seen it, that's twice now in this match, Braden, where we've seen her drain that clock down to like 4 seconds.
Right.
And it's just been an 8. Oh, man, and that's the thing about this particular match. You know, when you're shooting your normal qualification rounds, you have 6 arrows and you have 4 minutes. There's plenty of time. Or even in eliminations, 3 arrows in 2 minutes.
Exactly. You can let down. Here you only have 20 seconds per arrow, and you need to draw back and make the most of it. And if your shot goes long, you know, to the 4 or 5 second range remaining, your muscles are breaking down. You're holding your breath this entire time, so you're not, you're not thinking as clearly. You're getting a little foggy, and it's very easy for that 9 ring to shrink and for the 8 to come into play.
So some drama has built here for the USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open Compound Senior Women Gold Medal match at the end of regulation. 5 ends of competition. We are all tied up 142 points apiece. Just looking at that score alone, I mean 142 I think is for considering the conditions that we have and under the pressure of a gold medal match, I think 142 is a very, very good score out here in these conditions. But we're going to a 1 arrow shoot off closest to the center.
And Toya will be leading off again. She chose to shoot first the first end, so anytime there's a tie, it'll revert back to the shooter who shot first for the event. For the match.
Could you ever in the middle of, or why would you ever want to divert and say, oh no?
Sometimes if the conditions are extremely different than the practice venue or anything like that, and you're going to use that arrow to learn, that would be the only time I could see giving up the opportunity to shoot first.
But it's available within the rules for you to...
Right, not mid-match, but at the beginning.
At the beginning, I got it, okay. All right, so once you set your course, you're set. Tate Morgan, of course, Paige Pierce's boyfriend, her requested coach to talk things over with, and I'm sure there's got to be a little bit, there's either diversion or some type of calming down at this point, because...
Right, they train together every day, and he knows how she thinks and the right things to say. So he's definitely doing his best to get her refocused and at the job at hand.
A good shot at Toya Ellison's equipment and what she uses to try to capture this gold medal. Interesting rest. You can see by her thumb just above it that spring. What is...
Right, that's a drop away rest. As she draws back the bow, the rest goes from a down position to an up position, and she shoots, and it drops away before the arrow goes by, so it leads to a cleaner arrow flight.
Indication from our judge that, as Braden said, Toya Ellison will shoot first. So here we go. Gold medal match on the line for the 2020 U.S. Open here at USA Archery. Toya Ellison will shoot first. If each one of these archers is able to shoot an X, we're going to go to a second arrow. But all the pressure's on, and this is what archers live for. This kind of pressure.
And we're off. Going a little long in the shot.
A good
10.
solid 10.
So if Paige shoots anything 10.5 or better, she'll take the win. Clean shot. Oh,
dropped it to the left.
Toya's the champion.
Toya's the champion, so gold medal for Toya Ellison. To the crowd's delight back here. And look at the sigh of relief. I mean, just letting out the air on that one. Unbelievable for Toya, for Paige Pierce. She'll walk away with a silver medal. Guaranteed, as she'll go over and congratulate. As we normally see, outstanding sportsmanship here in USA Archery competition. The judges are downrange confirming those results. It's Toya Ellison walks away with a gold medal and a future that has the possibility of shooting for the United States in on the USA Archery team for World Archery competition, to the delight of many. I mean, the strength of the USA Archery women's compound team in the world is outstanding already. The addition of Toya Ellison would just be unbelievable.
You're right. Exactly like you said, they're already a powerhouse, and if we can add another amazing shooter, it's nothing but good things.
We've seen Linda Ochoa Anderson, who married Steve Anderson, moved to the United States. She is now on the USA team, but today the day belongs to Toya Ellison, who had an outstanding shoot. So Toya, it's Greg White here. Congratulations.
Hi.
What an amazing accomplishment, and what an arrow you had at the end. Tell us about your match.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was a tough match. It's always a tough match against Paige. It was, I feel the whole week or weekend, whatever you want to call it, was tough. But yeah, the arrow, I was just a good strong shot, and it broke good because it was windy. And in my head, I was just like, wait for it, be patient, because I was just a touch long. Wait for it, and then it broke. It was good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, so that is the compound senior women. Toya Ellison, your gold medal winner. More coming at you from Richmond, Virginia. Still plenty of matches to come here at the USA Archery 2020 US Open.
We are not just a sight company. We are Custom Bow Equipment, your premium accessory company. Precision sights, rests, quivers, and stabilizers. Custom gear for every archer. Available at your local dealer.
Brady Ellison here.
Jesse Broadwater here.
We're going to build an Olympic recurve bow from the ground up.
I want to share all my knowledge with you guys on everything that I do, from taking a brand new bow out of the box to setting it up and hitting 10s on a tournament trail.
Pull one out of the box, go step by step on exactly how I set up a bow to get you shooting the best you can.
USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open rolls on with another gold medal match here in Richmond, Virginia. This time, compound senior men. Greg White's sitting alongside Braden Galantine, who has won multiple championships in his day. Too many to count. I think you'd break Wikipedia if you put all your stuff on there. But Braden, let's talk about the two shooters that have made it into this gold medal match. I mean, unbelievable heavy hitters just in the final four here in Richmond, Virginia. But our first competitor is going to be Rio Wild, deep resume, shooting for Matthews, and his competitor will be Chris Schaff. Chris choosing to, yeah, he's going to be shooting first. Rio decided to put the pressure on Schaff. And Chris starts off with a solid 10. Braden, you were shooting against all these guys this week. I mean, the level of competition was incredible this weekend.
Yes, even with the, the COVID-reduced field, we saw the best of the best here this weekend and battled it out.
I mean, the thing was, when we get to the final four, deciding who's going to shoot for the gold medal, it was you, Schaff, Rio Wild,
and James Lutz.
And I said to spectators looking on, can you count the amount of USA Archery National and World Championships and World Archery wins of you four? I mean, it was absolutely incredible, the depth of field.
It would be close to 150.
Unbelievable.
Very. Yeah, it was definitely a who's who of World Archery, USA Archery shooters.
So Rio Wild with the first hiccup, shooting a 9. Schaff looking for a 30 to start things off. So Rio has got to stop the bleeding, and we say that often in compound senior men because getting a 1 or 2, look at the wind blowing Rio's rig around. Just trying to stabilize it out. Ooh, just off to the right.
And that's still a heck of a shot considering what he was going through with that wind.
And you know what? That's just kind of luck of the draw sometimes. It depends on when you're shooting.
Right. Like when we had the qualification or the earlier matches, you got to pick when you shot. So a lot of times the archers were shooting at the peak optimal positions in the wind. But here, when you have 20 seconds to shoot, there's no real advantage, and you can definitely have a disadvantage if you get hit by a strong gust. So that within 20 seconds, you could be in trouble.
And I think the danger in that, if I'm thinking as a shooter, Braden, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think sometimes the danger in that is if you do get hung out like Rio did, that the next time you have a calm moment that you might want to dump the shot early.
You're definitely gonna your mind frame's gonna switch a little bit. And you're gonna try to be more aggressive. But Rio's been out here so long, and he's got so much experience with it that I think he's gonna probably get a little bit more aggressive, but not too aggressive. He's gonna be able to maintain that balance.
And if you've watched USA Archery U.S. Open so far, you've seen that each archer that's been out in the other categories that we've had have had a coach in the coaching boxes, so someone standing behind helping them out. But Braden, in this particular case, Rio Wild and Chris Schaff, who actually were sharing a hotel room to reduce cost this week, decided at the last minute that, well, they jokingly said to Rod Menzer, the main man for USA Archery, well, Rio said, well, Chris is going to be my coach, and Chris said, Rio's got to be my coach.
Right, these guys are great friends, and anytime you drag in an outside party to coach you, things can get weird. So it's best for their friendship to just have at it.
Hey, listen, you're friends with James Lutz. You had to shoot off for bronze. I mean, it's one of the things that's very interesting with archery, I think, is that you do develop friendships, and sometimes you find yourselves in a competitive situation. How do you deal with a situation like that?
James and I have a pretty good agreement with it. Like, we shot off a bunch of times, and it's just kind of like, hey, for the next 15 minutes, we aren't friends.
Gotcha. Yep.
But let's go get lunch after.
Yeah. Incredible. So Rio starts off with the 10. And as weird as this sounds, even though we have so many arrows remaining in this competition, Chris Schaff has just got to really just keep putting them in the middle to keep the pressure on Rio.
Right. Rio needs to keep plugging away 10s to just hope that Chris has a hiccup. But as you said, if Chris just cleans out 10s, there's nothing Rio can do at this point. There's a 9 outright.
Oh, but now Chris is falling victim to a gust with 13 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
And you can see that Chris's bubble's right in the middle, so he's definitely more of the aim-off variety of how to deal with the wind. There's the first 9 for Chris on the top.
Yeah.
So he got the wind right, he just got bounced up a little high on the execution.
So right-hand part of your screen is the actual scope that Rio's looking through, and at the bottom of that scope is a bubble level, just like you'd find on a tool in the house where you're trying to level things off. And so that's what
good 10 from Rio.
Braden's talking about, so that's good. So Chris.
Needs a 10 here to keep his 2-point lead. Good shot. Yep, there it is.
Shot. So that'll score that. 29 apiece. As a good kind of stop the bleeding shot from Chris Schaff. Will maintain his 2-point lead.
This is a really interesting dynamic here with the wind and the match play, because I think that both archers have their own advantages and strengths. Like Rio is probably the better of the wind shooters between himself and Chris, but Chris has got an amazing mind for match play and he's super strong. So it should be balanced, it should be tight, it should be a really good match.
And of course, let's talk about these two and yourself, USA Archery team that represents World Archery when things get rolling again, obviously with World Archery. You three are on the team. You're the team that gets to go travel around in these competitions. What is that like, and how did the three of you, plus the other athletes, get to the USA Archery national team?
So to qualify for the national team and the World Cup team, we have 5 events throughout the year, 4 USATs plus nationals. And we count your best 4 of the 5 events, and you collect points off of qualification, off of matches, and off of your quality of matches. And at the end of the year, all of the points are tallied, and top 4 get to represent the USA.
Quite an incredible honor, and I know the three of you guys, you know, have won so many matches and get to shoot team matches, which we didn't get to shoot this weekend. Normally we do, but we didn't because of the restrictions of social distancing and wanting to have this competition without the risk of spreading the virus. So
this should be a 10 here for Rio.
For those that have seen Rio Wild shoot in the past, he's got a much different stabilizer setup.
Good.
And a great shot. Still, he's hanging out a little bit to the right, though.
Hanging on the right. But in the wind, we call that the pro side. Here.
Is that right?
If you fire one downwind, it never had a chance. But if you fire it upwind, it's always got a chance of catching.
Oof.
But yeah, the wind seems to have died down right now. The archers are able to pick their spots on the target and execute strong shots.
A little bit of English at
Yes.
the end of that shot for Rio Wild.
Just a little high right. He had a bob on his sight right as that fired. So it hit right behind the pin. He knew the moment it broke.
Can Rio capitalize?
Got a little bit of wind on him, but strong shot, right side 10.
All right, so Rio at least gets a point back.
Right, so this is where having a coach in your box, it would be a big advantage. You'd have an extra mind, an extra pair of eyes on your sight, on your arrow impact. Oh, what a shot from Chris. So now we're down to 1 point, 6 arrows left, 2 ends.
Yeah, and I mean, from our vantage point too, that was right in the middle of a gust for Chris Schaff.
Chris aims so well, it's kind of impressive.
Montana boy. I have to imagine, being from Montana, he would probably experience some wind in practice. Now, I compete, as you know, I'm a fan of archery, but when I practice for 50-meter competitions, where I can practice is actually shielded in the woods, so I don't often have an opportunity to practice in the wind. Where you get to practice, what does your field look like? Is it similar to how we shoot out in the open, or do you have a shielded area?
So I have 2 fields available. One is kind of open like this, and the other is shielded. I would say I do 90% of my shooting on the shielded range. And I'm working on the tune of the bow, I'm working on my shot execution, I'm working on timing, aiming, all the things that I need, like a contained, consistent area to practice in. But then the other 10%, I'll go out and I'll let the wind beat me up and see how I manage to, keep within myself and make sure that the process and the shot are working under the worst of conditions. But you don't want to do most of your practice with that, because what you'll end up doing is breaking down your form.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, after 3 ends, we're going to 5 of competition. Rio Wild, 1 point behind Chris Schaff, 87 to 88 points. It's the gold medal match for the compound senior men. We're shooting 50 meters, or about 54.7 yards, from where the archer is standing to the target. It's an 80-centimeter face. 3 arrows, maximum points allowed per end is going to be 30 points each. 10 points per arrow. as Rio sends it into the X-ring, which scores 10 points, maximum value. And that's all Rio can do at this point, is just throw 10s downrange and hope Chris is going to have a mistake.
Right. You can see that was a really clean shot. The follow through was dead straight. Looked confident.
Five seconds on that shot clock. And off to the left, so a 9 for Rio Wild.
Good shot from Chris. What a reply. He sees control of the match right there. Good shot from Rio. Good 10. He definitely feels comfortable on that right side of the 10. Chris looks steady. That should be low, but right, yep. You can see.
It's amazing. You can see that from what?
I just at the moment of firing, I could see like a little bit of movement in his bow and his sight, and you could see on his face it was a look of surprise and uh-oh.
So he had an opportunity, did Khrushchev, to go up 2 points on Rio Wild as Rio shot that 9 on the second arrow, but not to be in this one. They tie it 29 apiece.
And in this wind, 1 point's nothing, so it's virtually a dead heat.
Yeah, normally I think, right, if we have dead calm conditions,
right,
1 point at this level with these competitors could be like, oh, well, it's not good. But in this wind, anything's possible. So we head into the 5th end of competition with Khrushchev 1 point over Rio Wild, the possibility of tying.
It's there.
After the 5th end, and then we'd go to a 1 arrow closest to the center shoot-off. So I was mentioning before, for those people that have watched Rio Wild shoot for many years, one of the distinguishing factors of Rio is the amount of weight that he would carry on his stabilizers. He's had a big change in the way he sets his bow up, his Matthews bow, in the last couple of weeks, I would say, maybe month, where he's reduced the amount of weight on the stabilizers, both front and rear. But if you'll notice, Braden, he's also moved it, he's got to a shorter back bar and moved that out to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds that it's a setup that he shot some years ago with some other bows that he found really successful. And so the one thing that's interesting about a shooter like Rio, Khrushchev, I know you're the same way, is the constant tweaking and the constant working at just being better.
Yeah, he's making adjustments to the bar to change the way the bow's torquing in his hand and to change the tune of his arrow. So as you pull that bar out, you're going to be changing the knock flight of your arrow. So he's just kind of fine-tuning his tune to match his personal aim and his preferences. Oh, that was not how he wanted to start the end. That's 10.
Yeah, that's how Chris wanted. So Rio with a 9, Khrushchev with a 10, 2 point advantage, 2 arrows remaining in the gold medal match.
That was a good shot from Rio. So Chris can definitely seize control of the 10 here. Good shot.
And he caught the line.
Mm-hmm.
So
the wind's dying down right now. You can see the flags are barely moving, so it makes sense that that arrow impacted over there. Rio should finish up strong here.
He lets it go with 2 seconds on the clock. If he didn't get that off, if he waited 3 seconds, that would have been a 0. But he gets it off and he gets it into the X-ring. So now 4 gold.
Yep, just 9 just off right, but Chris with the 1 point win.
So that'll do it for Khrushchev with that 9 outright. The 2 friends shaking hands after that one. They know the scores. We await official confirmation. But a close match. What do you think? 140. I think it's going to be downgraded to a 146.
Yeah, it's 146,
146, yeah, for Khrushchev, but 146 in these tricky conditions. I mean, we started out with strong wind. There were some gusts here and there. Then all of a sudden the wind died.
Yeah, Chris shot great. It was really impressive to see him out there. He looked unflappable the entire time. His pin sat in the middle. He executed strong shots, and he kept his rhythm and his timing up, which is so important in these conditions, and it's really hard to do. And now we'll have Chris in the booth in a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll definitely have Chris in the booth in a few minutes. And, you know, it's not only Battle of Friends, but obviously Battle of Manufacturers here at USA Archery, you know, with live streaming, Cam bringing you all of this action. You know, there's pride on the line for these manufacturers as well. The old adage, what wins on Sunday, although Saturday in this case, sells on Monday. So as Chris Schaff and Rio Wild meander their way past our commentating position, there will be a reset downrange.
Right, we're moving to 70 meters for the recurves.
Yeah,
and 122 target faces.
Exciting, can't wait to see what's in store for us, especially on the women's side, as our number 8 and our number 6 seed in qualifying will be shooting for gold in women's recurve. But in the compound senior men, it was all Chris Schaff. Chris, congratulations. What a match for you. Tell us about it.
You know, the first end I came out there, you know, shot a perfect 30 in that wind, and I was, you know, pretty excited about that. And then, you know, I knew pretty much the ones that I was going to miss, but just, you know, where the dot was in the wind, and it wasn't an easy match. You know, Rio stayed right there with me the whole way.
What about those last couple arrows? I mean, were you aware of what Rio was shooting? You know, I know that you guys didn't have a coach, so no one was calling arrows for you, but could you see down there, and did you know what you needed on that last arrow to seal the deal?
Yeah, I seen, I don't remember if it was his first arrow or second arrow go way wide right there. And, you know, I just kind of knew after I hit my first two, I was like, all right, just hold gold here, you know, tie him up on this end, and you know, you'll seal the deal.
Well, you're the 2020 U.S. Open champion. What are you going to do to celebrate tonight?
I'm not too sure. Hopefully me and you are going out on the town.
Well, Chris, congratulations, man. It was really fun to watch, and enjoy this one.
Thank you.
All right, wind's still blowing here. There's so much more to come, especially if you are a fan of the Olympics and a fan of archery, as we're going to have the recurve senior women and recurve senior men down the pipe. Don't go anywhere as the USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open continues from Richmond, Virginia.
Every detail matters. Boning premium points are precision crafted. For arrows that spin true and fly clean and stable, time after time.
Established in a small town in 1981. A company that produces quality products that archers have come to rely on. I started shooting with a Scott release and have passed the tradition on. My dad always told me, never forget where you came from. Well, I haven't. Shoot with confidence. Shoot a Scott.
Welcome back to Richmond, Virginia, the 2020 U.S. Open for USA Archery. As we are winding down our gold medal matches, the ends of 3 days of competition started out with the 136th USA Archery Target Nationals, which crowned its own national champion, and then we took those scores from 2 days of 72 arrow matches, ranked everyone, and then they shot single round eliminations today for the U.S. Open, a tournament which anyone can come on out and shoot, become a USA Archery member and grab a bow and come on out and compete, and you can stand shoulder to shoulder with some of the best in the world, including the guy sitting next to me. I'm Greg White, and with me is Braden Galantine, as we are preparing for the recurve senior women. And you can see that the officials out on the field have made a change to our field of play.
Right, we're now shooting 70 meters on a 122 centimeter target. As far as the dynamics of 50 meters, 80 centimeter versus 70 meter, 122, the 10 rings seems the same size to the archer. But we've got a distinction between that, and yeah, we're good to go. If our archers do go to a tie after the 5 ends, we'll be shooting a single arrow shoot off. If both athletes shoot a 10 on the first arrow, we go to a second arrow, which will be straight, close to the center.
And our archers for this match, for the gold medal match, have taken to the field. And our 6th place qualifier is a veteran to this recurve senior women. Erin Mickelberry will be competing against Alex Zuelta. So Alex Zuelta, 21 years old, out of Florida, who's recently, and I mean recently, moved to Georgia to attend college, and moved into her place on Friday and then drove straight here.
Oh wow, that's exciting.
And she was our number 8 qualifier, was Alex Zuelta.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and you'll see her name come up as Alexandria Zuelta is her there, but she likes to go by Alex Zuelta. And Erin Mickelberry, of course, legend. So that's the way Alex registered. That's why we get those names from USA Archery. But
she's getting her spotty scope dialed in.
Very interesting in talking to this young woman, 21 years old, about her future. And it's very interesting, Braden, because in a way she's torn between what normal life has to offer, meaning I should go to school, I should get an education, I should do these things that people want me to do, but her real passion lies in archery and what she wants to accomplish. And although she's been coming to this competition for 9 straight years, her 3rd year in the senior category, she's completely and utterly surprised to be in the gold medal match.
Yeah, it's incredible to, 3 years in the senior division to already be competing with the best in the world, and I'm excited for it. Like you said, it's a crazy time in her life where she's going to go to college, and she's got so many expectations and things going on where it's great to have archery as a fail-safe, as something to fall back on and enjoy and have such an amazing experience over the summer.
So if you are joining us for the first time, this is the gold medal match for the recurve senior women, and you may have seen this archer, Erin Mickelberry, who is going to set us off first, but you might wonder where some of our top women are. It was very tricky conditions this morning in competition, and this is what match play, single round eliminations is all about. I think when you start the day in single round eliminations, every single archer has a chance. So there's an 8-7 liner.
Right, sports aren't competed on paper, so.
True, 100%.
Good comeback for Erin there with a 9.
That's a good group. You can see Alex's eyes kind of moving back and forth. I wonder if she's maybe looking...
Double checking string alignments, things like that. The recurve archers don't have a peep sight like the compound do, so they tend to line up their string along the riser or on the outside of the sight. So she's probably just being aware of that. Or possibly checking the clock.
Yeah, it definitely looks like with that small eye movement, maybe the alignment. Ooh, good shot.
So that puts her at 25 to Erin's 23, and she'll pick up 2 set points. One step closer to a championship.
I can't impress upon you how awesome it was to speak with this young athlete this morning. Alex Zuelta, and just, you know, when I asked her what would this gold medal mean to you if you could win it, and what she said was, I don't even know how to put it into words, is what she was saying to me. And then as she thought about it more, she kind of said, look, it would be kind of a justification for all the ups and downs that archery brings, that archery has brought her over the years. Braden, you know better than anyone on this field the ups and downs of archery.
Oh, for sure. There's been times in my career where, you know, I've thought about stepping away and getting a real job just for the consistency of it. And I mean, as close as was 2017, I was, you know, struggling. I kept making the shoot downs, I kept making to the end, and I just couldn't seal the deal. And it wasn't like lack of comfort or lack of, you know, mental discipline. It was just the breaks weren't falling in my way. And then I got to what I thought was going to be my last tournament. I ended up making the bronze medal match, qualifying for the World Cup final, and it just sparked things, reunited, and I had one of the best quarters of my career. I ended up winning the World Cup final and then winning 2 more USADs after that. And it was just like...
It was an impressive run, dude. I mean, seriously.
It's exactly what happens here. It's like, it's justification of all the hard work and all the effort you've put in, and it's almost beyond words.
Wow. Down on the scoring side of things, the judge is having confirmation look at the score, which would put Alex Zuelta up 2 set points to 0. First one to 6 wins.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Erin come back here and tie it up 2-2. She is a match play specialist and she is a fighter.
It's amazing the distance. 70 meters, logs in somewhere close to 77 yards at a 12.2 centimeter 10 ring. The practice it takes, the discipline it takes, the amount of information that these archers have got to process in order to get that shot together, especially with wind blowing in these conditions, is absolutely incredible. The level of competition piled on top of all of that. And here we have the gold medal match for the recurve senior women. And a good shot. So in the 8 ring, you can see some of the wind playing with our camera as well.
And the distance difference between 50 meters and 70 meters may not seem a lot, but I would imagine, from, you know, personal experience, the arrows drifting probably 2 times as far in that extra 20 meters. Just the depletion of energy.
Yeah, and you have to think too with the recurve bow, some of these recurve senior women pulling back somewhere in the neighborhood of 42 pounds. And so you would think that the speed of the arrow with their draw length is probably somewhere close to maybe what, 195 to 200 feet per second.
Yes, for sure.
Where a compound can go up to someone who's tall with a 60-pound bow with a long draw length can get up to 200,
300 pounds.
Yeah, 300 feet per second. So you're talking about a slower arrow falling victim to this wind, especially over a longer distance.
All right, a 9 here will tie the set. A 10 will win. Good shot. 7 high. She needs to move her sight. All those impacts are up there. So Erin will take the set. Tied 2-2.
Just like you called it. I mean, you said that Erin would rebound their experience. As Zuelta, the 21-year-old out of Florida, now at Emmanuel College in Georgia studying kinesiology.
Knowing Erin, I bet she came into the match not expecting to win, but confident and in herself and her ability. And I think that first end kind of threw her for a loop, and now she's a little angry.
I mean, you would have to think with her experience, with Erin's experience in this, knowing that here you have Zuelta, who doesn't have as much, especially in the pressure cooker that is the gold medal match, you just kind of would have a little bit of that extra swagger, you know, going into this match. So, at the end of our second group of arrows, our second end, we're tied up at 2 set points apiece. As 70 meters downrange, you can see those targets are cleared now, arrows are pulled, and we're going to be starting our third end of competition. I know you and I both are really keeping a close eye on those wind conditions because we've mentioned it before, 70 meters downrange, what you're feeling at the spot where you're standing versus what you're looking at. The good thing about this gold medal match field of play is that there are some extra flags around here that we don't have on our qualifying rounds.
Right, all those extra banners are just extra flags, extra windsocks.
Yeah, might be a little overload at some point.
Yeah, the wind is blowing right to left, and a good place to aim with the recurve is probably right 6, right 5. There's no doubt in my mind these archers are aiming off in the blue to the right side.
In the blue to the right side, yeah, that's called aiming off, and
Aiming off, right.
that's pretty far.
And you'll see most recurvers go with the aiming off method because they don't have the bubble to the level of the sight to maintain a consistent cant, as we call it. Good shot, 8 right. It's getting the elevation dialed.
Right now, was there a sight adjustment for Alex Vuelta?
She's looking over left, so she's monitoring the clicker. She's coming through. That's a high 8-9 liner. My guess is it's a 9.
Now, the only reason she wouldn't be grabbing some clicks is if, I guess, it's breaking in that exact point. Ooh, and a high 6 from Mickleberry. You can see there's another 6 up there. So an opportunity for Vuelta if she can just start pulling those arrows down into that 10 ring.
I just got to move that sight.
For Vuelta, she actually has a coach, a remote coach. Her coach is in Arizona, and they've gotten to the point now where she'll send videos. They'll analyze. So an 8-7 liner.
That's not the response Aaron was hoping for there.
No.
So that puts her at 21, a 5 or better, 6 or better on arrow lines. Yeah, that'll do it. 4-2. But that group's the size of the 10 ring. She just needs to move that sight down.
Does it frustrate you sitting here? It does me just a little bit. Like you almost want to reach out and just say, grab some clicks.
There she goes. She's moving it. Okay. Yeah, it's I wouldn't say frustrating, but it's just kind of like you said, her coach is remote, so she has no one in her coach's box there. It's just something that an extra pair of eyes would notice and just remind her. Just something simple like that that's so easy to overlook because she's focusing on the fundamentals. She's focusing on staying calm. She's focusing on her shot, and it's just something that can get away. Something so mundane and easy that you just need a subtle reminder for.
Yeah, because although she has outscored Erin Mickleberry in this particular set and goes up 4-2, it's that when the pressure's on, if you need it, you've got to have it dialed in.
Right, and she's probably dialed in for how she was shooting earlier, and in the wind and the rain, and that would make sense as far as how much her arrow was dropping when the string got wet. But now that she's dialed in, I think we should see a higher end total here.
And sometimes, Braden, is there times when you're like, no, it's got to be me, it's not the sight? Like, sometimes does it take a few arrows to figure out or to convince yourself that it's what you need?
Yes, it can, unless you make one of those perfect shots and you know something hits. And even then, you may be like, maybe it was the arrow, maybe the knock broke or something like that. But in this case, it's been 9 arrows straight.
Yeah, good point.
She's gotten a good average. She can crank that sight.
All right, so Alex Vuelta has made the move. She's grabbed a few clicks. We'll see if it's enough. But this is where Erin Mickleberry shines. Very steady shooter. Throughout the years, has just shown constant scores, has been very steady, has found herself in this situation before, and the mistakes she made in the last end to Erin Mickleberry do not make a difference. So here goes Mickleberry starting us off. The goal in this one is to keep this match alive and grab these 2 set points to take us 4-4.
There we go.
What a start.
I didn't want to jinx it, but I said I bet this arrow's going to find the 10 ring. I was thinking in my head.
The commentator's jinx.
All right, we got the elevation down now.
All right, so
her clicker slipped off the arrow there, so now we may be under a time crunch.
10 seconds remaining on the clock.
Okay, she should be fine. She's back with 6 seconds.
We're at 5. And
good shot.
Yep.
8 right.
Okay. So that could have been disastrous, but really not that bad considering the time rush.
She stayed calm. Got it taken care of. Good shot. Right on cue.
I was just going to say, like, this is the time for Vuelta to find that middle.
It's a good shot.
Good shot. There was
left
a gusto.
8-9 line right.
Yep. We'll have to see how that scores. It kind of looks like an 8.
It does look like an 8. It's kicked the wrong way. Good shot here. She can take the championship. She did her part. There it is, a 9.
Wow.
What a shot.
Unbelievable.
Right, so now it's going to come down to that arrow call for Erin on the left side. If that if Erin's arrow has the line, they'll be going to a 5th set. But if it's an 8, it's over.
This is unbelievable.
Erin seems convinced.
And a big hug. Wow. Your 8th place qualifier, Alex Vuelta, who came in here with no expectations, had told me with COVID she'd lost the motivation, didn't feel like she trained hard enough to be here, and really dug deep and continuously finds herself in a wow situation, and now on the verge of being crowned U.S. Open champion.
And her groupings in this final have been great. They've been wonderful for the conditions. And once she got dialed in, she put that 10-9-8 in there, and that's going to win a lot of sets in these conditions. So
and how about, what do you think, the most critical sight adjustment she's made in her career so far?
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. And I'm excited to see where this boost of confidence will take her, to see if she's more competitive. Not more competitive, if she's just going to be able to springboard this into possibly a position.
Absolutely right.
For the next team.
Yeah. Alex Welta is a name that we could hear. And don't forget, with the Olympics being postponed and how things are working out, I mean,
who knows?
Who knows?
The sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit. Wow. Boy, she's going to head back to her brand new home in Georgia with a smile on her face tonight.
And a story for all of the college parties.
And confirmation for Alex Welta, as we just got our indication from the judge that she is the gold medal winner here at the 2020 USA Archery U.S. Open. And I can't wait to get her on the headset and talk to her, because the smile on her face is huge. What a match. What an adjustment to make. Incredible. I think people all around her, I can hear her name being spoken behind us, and people are just like, wow, that was absolutely amazing. And it's really what elimination matches, those head-to-head matches, can create. When you show up on Saturday morning, it doesn't matter how you qualified. If you're in it, you have a chance to win it. You can just climb and climb and climb. That was awesome. So as we await Alex Welta, a 21-year-old from Florida, to get on our headset so we can talk to her about her match. I mean, going in there, guaranteed a silver, and she just had zero expectations. And I think, we saw, like you were saying before, really good groupings from her. Just had to reset that sight. So, that's what you're looking for as an archer. Well, Alex, Greg White here. Congratulations on your win. I mean, we talked earlier. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, my God. All I can do is laugh. Oh my God.
What I want to know is, we saw it from our perspective. You didn't have a coach in your box, but we knew 9 arrows into this. We were sitting there saying, when are you going to adjust that sight? And you made it at the right time.
Oh my gosh.
Well, how are you feeling right now, and what's going on through your mind through the match?
I am just like adrenaline and shaking. Yeah, I wasn't aiming in the middle. I was like aiming off the whole time. Kind of, like, give or take depending on the wind, because like it's times it died, but most of the time I was just aiming off at different spots. Yeah.
Well, that was amazing. And so, listen, we talked about this. You have a new place in Georgia. You're going to a new school. Where are you going to be hanging your gold medal in your new place?
Oh man, I guess somewhere on my wall, somewhere with command hooks or something like that, and put it in my dorm somewhere.
Yeah. When's it going to sink in that you are USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open champion?
I don't know. Probably when I have no idea. Probably.
Listen, I know that you're excited about this, and I know this is completely unexpected, but congratulations. You're the best shooter in the United States.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, Alex Welta will enjoy this victory for quite a while. All right, one more match to come in this one. It's the biggest name in the sport of USA Archery. Coming up, it's the men's senior recurve. USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open marches on. The USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open is brought to you by True Ball and Excel and Matthews. Also brought to you by PSC Archery, Hoyt Archery, Black Eagle Arrows, and Elite. A good look at the field of play where archers qualified for elimination rounds as we head into our final match of the day. Greg White sitting alongside Braden Gellantine, and we are all set for our recurve senior men final. And we have a couple of outstanding shooters lined up for you. Matt Requa, who's been around quite a while, is a resident athlete, USA Archery recurve. Good look at Matt there, who's been around for quite a while, has battled through some injuries over the years.
Yeah, I've known Matt since back when he was at Texas A&M. He's come a long way, and he's an incredible shooter.
And that's Junsu Oh, 18 years old from Virginia. He starts us off. Junsu Oh is our third place qualifier. Matt, our fourth. So tricky conditions in the elimination rounds. Sees our two top qualifiers of Brady Ellison not in this match.
Clean shot for Matt.
So we start off from Matt with a 7-9. We're set point scoring system.
Oh, low elaborate. Yep, there we go. All right. All right, so we got a 25. Means Matt needs a 9 to tie, 10 to win the set. Nine. All right, 1-1. I think that's our first tied set.
I believe you're right. Yeah, it's our first tied set scoring that we've had.
For recurve or barebow, yeah. Everything else has been decided pretty decisively.
So yeah, so really welcome to new shooter Junsu Oh, 18 years old. He went
He's
to
got plans of attending the RA system as soon as it reopens.
Can you explain to people out there maybe what the RA or resident athlete system is?
Right, so we have a program out in Chula Vista, California, where archers can live and train under the tutelage of Coach Lee and Chris Webster, and it's an opportunity to just hone your skills and focus on the Olympic Games with no real distractions.
Because this is the Olympic archery competition that you would have seen this summer, but obviously with things going on around the world, that's being delayed till next year.
And I mean, I think it's a benefit for the U.S. for sure, probably for most teams where people get another year to train and focus and just kind of drive. You know, the Olympics, it's once every 4 years, and you see athletes train for 4 years, and I think this year you're going to see them training for 5 years, an extra, year of preparation. You'll see some athletes tail off and others step up. And
I was going to ask, can that, with some of the older athletes, maybe play on the motivation,
I'm sure emotions are just, completely polarized. Some people are like, this is my last chance. This is, I was about to age out, or not, age out from being my most competitive, and others are, coming into their peak and their prime, and it's going to be interesting. See how everybody handles it. Life changes and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff between now and then. So 1-1 tie, Junsu Oh, 18 years old. This is his first year shooting as a senior. Shot cadet world record at JOAD Nationals last summer. This is a rising star in USA Archery competition. We'll start off with a low 8.
He seems to have a pretty good read on the wind.
Went exactly the opposite shot.
Yeah.
For Matt Requa.
Matt looked strong there.
Interesting shot, outright 7. There's a little bit of wind where the shooters are standing, but it takes a moment to kind of get down to the target 70 meters downrange.
I'm kind of surprised by the open groups right now. That's another 8. And Matt needs a 7 to tie, and an 8 or better to win the set. And there it is, an 8.
Okay, so that's all that counts in this one, and we're going to go 3 sets to 1 for Matt.
That high arrow from Matt's real close. It could go either way.
Okay. Yeah, of course we have our judge heading down to take a closer look at it.
Both athletes are getting, the coaches are probably getting over the nerves. This is the highest level shoot-off that both have had, you know, as far as competition and prestige of the event. So not surprised to see a little bit of nerves here, and I think the level's only going to get higher and higher as we progress through the match.
Yeah, because you have 2 things really working at you. One, figuring out the field of play, meaning obviously the wind and the other factors involved, and then shaking off those nerves. So
exactly.
we expect to see much more in the gold, and to see who is it going to be. The experience of Matt Requa that's going to be able to figure it out quicker, or is it going to be that aggressive enthusiasm of the younger Junsu Oh, who, by the way, gets to shoot. How many times have we shot a U.S. Archery National tournament that was close to your house, Braden, in Massachusetts?
It's
not too many times.
This is probably the closest it's ever been to my house. We had a couple of the USAT events up there in Massachusetts, and that was always great to sleep in your own bed. You know,
yeah,
it was kind of nice, but
yeah,
it's not very often that the Nationals is held in your own state and you're able to capitalize on it and, you know, perform like these guys have.
Yeah, and for this young man, he gets it done early. In the Virginia resident, bringing his own flair to competition. I noticed the clips that he has on his jersey. My guess is to keep that collar down and in control. What do you think?
Oh, especially in the wind that we've had today. I could see that thing flipping around and causing inconsistencies in arrow flight.
So, O will start us off.
That was a good shot. Yeah, there it is, 10.
I mean, this is the amazing thing about sitting next to Braden, folks. I mean, he can just tell from body language where this arrow is going to land, and just right in the 10
That's
ring.
a look of determination from Matt. 9 left.
Just a little bit of shake in that bow arm, holding that bow.
That was clean too.
Yeah. Wow.
That's an impressive shot.
Now we can see the arrow, where the tip of the arrow is. There's that piece of metal that's hanging off there, that metal flap. What is that?
That's the clicker. So that's how the recurve archer can determine what their draw length is when the release fires. So it's a way to manipulate your shot speed, arrow speed, and your draw length.
So when that thing goes, it clicks.
It's
That's
time
your
to fire.
Whoa!
Yeah, perfect 30.
Oh my. Well,
a little flare there on the bow arm toss.
Wow, how about that? 18 years old, and he got this thing sorted out quickly. I mean, Matt's group has been good. It's just not exactly where he wants it to be. And that one
just a little low. He could tell from his face that it was just the sight dipped at the last moment.
So Junsu Oh closes the gap immediately, and now we're all tied up at 3-3. Set system, very interesting way to score things versus the way Compound does it with a cumulative score.
Right, so now Matt may be down 4 points for the set, but he can shake it off because it's still 3-3. It's a tied ball game.
No.
Yeah, whereas Compound, he'd be down 4 points and he'd have a really big hill to climb.
A good replay.
It's so clean and powerful, his shot. It's impressive. I'm excited to see what he does with a few more years of, you know, just building confidence and working with Coach Lee.
And you know what? That is what USA Archery is here to do. It's here to develop the young talent that we have and to cultivate the talent that's established to get them competitive at the Olympic level and to really bring home gold for the United States. And that's what that resident program is all about in Chula Vista, is giving the athletes an opportunity to live, breathe archery.
But that shot and the power and the grace in it, it's something you don't see every day. That raw talent, that skill, that's something you see out of Brady and some of the top Koreans, and that's just like, that's what you can't teach. That's exciting.
So you're watching it unfold in front of your eyes, 18-year-old Jun Suo, maybe an opportunity for us because of the Joad Nationals not being able to compete. You see some of these younger archers coming to compete here at this level, at the senior level, and you're watching the emergence of a star right now.
And he's got no pressure. Like you said, he's a junior shooter shooting up in the senior division. It's, you know, just being here is all icing on the cake, and he's able to put his talent on display for us.
And he still has, what, 3 more years as a junior able to compete?
That's crazy.
2 or 3 more seasons?
Crazy.
Ooh, big gust of wind just hit our commentating position. Didn't look like it affected his hold very much. The release
may have affected the arrow.
Mm-hmm. That's where we're seeing it. The wind is blowing from right to left, so that drift can take it right into the 8-ring. Matt Requa. Good release.
Yeah.
So, point advantage in this set.
Let's see how Junsu bounces back here. Yeah, that shot is incredible. So clean.
70 meters distance at 122 centimeter target. But this wind is just such a clutch shot.
Good shot. Ooh. That was a surprising impact.
It looked so good on the release. Oh, quick shot.
Yeah.
With authority, but drops it in the 8-ring. Kind of knows maybe he knew that 6 was shot. So
just getting one downrange while the wind wasn't so bad.
Yeah, for Matt, not enough points available. So we're going to go 5-3.
So Matt's just using that arrow as a sighter to kind of figure out the wind and get his shot back under control.
Wow. Jun Suo, 18 years old, on the verge of a gold medal in the recurve senior men category. Who would have been able to predict this at the beginning of this week?
Right? I mean, I'm sure he's been confident enough in his training to know that it was he was capable of it. And I'm sure he and his coach have had this in mind since COVID started, that this was, his breakthrough moment, and he's taking advantage of it.
Now, we do have Olympic trials. Obviously, USA Archery has Olympic trials, and for Jun Suo, he was top 16 in our Olympic trials. So he has been, even at this young age, starting to climb the ladder, and now in front of this stage.
And he qualified 3rd this weekend, too, so he's been right there with the overall score.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting. He's definitely a wild card to watch moving forward into the Olympic trials. I would not put my money against him.
So, Braden Galantine, how does Jun Suo close this one out and grab himself the gold medal?
My Nostradamus moment, I see 3 in the gold and an exclamation point on the last arrow.
Wow.
Bold statement of the year.
That would be incredible. All right, but if you're Jun Suo, are you feeling pressure? I mean, he came into this thing, no expectations, but all of a sudden you find yourself in the lead of someone with the experience and skill level of Matt Requa. Are you chill? Are you anxious?
I'm sure he's anxious. Like that last shot last end, his shot, you could see it was too fast, too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just something that's going to get better with age. And that's been muscling him in there.
Yep. Oh, there you go.
That's a good lead.
And what we need Matt to do is take this to 5-5. So we go to that one arrow shoot off with Jun Suo.
Ooh. This is where age, maturity, and confidence come into play. Okay.
I mean,
it's still anybody's game at this point, but Junsu needs a good arrow here. Okay,
it's a solid 9. Solid in the gold.
Matt just needs something in the gold here. And 8 really will get it done. 9.
He caught it.
We're going to a shoot off.
Wow. Oh boy.
Well, 0 for 1 on Mortal Locks of the Century for me. But that last arrow was pretty good.
So we are going to be tied up at 5-5 in terms of set points. What an education Jun Suo is getting right now in the recurve senior men's category here, the gold medal match. I mean, plenty of experience so far, but at this level, it's just a different It's a different step.
Right, exactly. I would imagine in the junior division, when he had that end where he shot the 30, it would have been like a game-changing moment where the other guy was like, oh, great. But here, Matt's like, you know, I can do that too.
Yeah, he can.
So Matt wasn't flapped by it and just motivated to do his best, and he made it happen. We're headed to one arrow to determine the champion for 2020.
It's incredible, Matt Reqva's story about coming back from injury and how he's just progressed back to form and now finds himself.
That's the thing, Matt's strong.
Yeah.
And anytime he's, you know, hit a setback from like that, he's come back stronger.
Wow, I think this was a really interesting tournament for all of us to see who actually was putting some time in during COVID, who had a chance, you know, who was motivated.
For sure.
And, you know, it's just given us some surprise people in the gold medal matches, and it's just been an absolutely phenomenal tournament put on by USA Archery. The combined tournaments of the 136 Target Nationals with, of course, what we're shooting for now, the U.S. Open.
To be honest, it's just so great to be out competing again and
It
having
is.
an organization like this moving forward and doing the right things and taking into, you know, social distancing into account, and just making it possible for us to be out here.
Yeah, it was a unique way to shoot for all of us. Normally we're used to shooting on those lines, just shoulder to shoulder, but we were staggered and we had nice distance between each archer. And it was a big commitment for USA Archery to pull this off, and they've done an outstanding job. As we are now set for what, Braden? Here we go. So tensions are climbing.
Single arrow. Junsu will be leading us off. If he shoots a 10, Matt will need to match it with a 10. But if either archer doesn't shoot a 10, we're close to the center. Oh, we had a little flinch there. 9.
Okay.
That's a good arrow, especially coming back from that little clutch at the end. So Matt needs a strong, solid shot with a good read on the wind to take the win. There it is.
He does it in comeback
10 for
style. Matt Reqva comes back from a deficit to close the deal and
What a
snag
shot.
that gold medal. What a shot. And he finally smiles. After the shot, he just turned around like, yeah, I got it.
Right, he knew it was a good shot. He knew it was what he needed. And, yeah, instead of exuberance, he probably feels a lot more relief and just kind of, you know, comfort knowing that the hours and years of hard work that he's put in have paid off. And on the opposite end, Junsu got a taste of what it's like to be here on the final, and I think that this is going to be just an extra fire in his belly moving forward, and I'm excited to see what he does in the
Yeah, I
future.
don't think there's any question about it. It's not like he's going to look back on this match and be like, oh, because I think his eyes are forward.
Exactly. He's going to look at all of the mistakes, all of the errors, and just know that he was so close, and next time he'll do everything he can to have the outcome come out differently. But kudos to Matt. That was incredible. That last shot to just put an exclamation point on it. I was right about that. There would be a decisive victor.
Yeah. Yeah, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. Wow. When he needed it, Matt Reqva was able to dig deep.
Matty Ice
able to get it done. We're going to get to talk to him in a moment, but that was impressive. I mean, really putting a stamp on, hey young buck, it's not quite time just yet.
Right?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
What a gold medal match we had for the recurve senior men. The young upstart, Junsu Oh, put a lot of pressure on the veteran Matt Reqva, and he is on headset now. Matt, unbelievable match. Congratulations. It was a comeback, and then that just nasty 10 to seal the deal. Congratulations. Tell us about the match.
Thank you. The wind was really throwing me off. It's a lot stronger over on the left side of the field, and this stadium on the right was just throwing me for a loop.
So tell us what you were thinking, heading into that final end of competition. You knew you needed to close that gap.
I just, trust your shot. Just trust it and try not to, overthink it. Just shoot your shot, pick a spot, wherever you need to aim off and go.
Now you're shooting, single arrow for the gold medal, and you're the second shooter. So what was going through your mind when Junsu Oh was at full draw?
Well, luckily for recurve, all you have to do is shoot a 10 and you get a second arrow regardless. So just put it in the 10 ring and call it a day.
And what does this championship mean for you right now?
It's really good. I unfortunately couldn't be at my sister's wedding in California. So I'm doing this for her. I hope that she has a wonderful day. I love both Sarah and Finley, and I hope that they have the best time even though that this is their third wedding date so far.
Wow.
It's been canceled twice for COVID.
Well, we're sorry you couldn't be there, but at least you
an
got
awesome gift.
Yeah,
I got a gift for them.
All right, congratulations, man. Great job.
Thank you very much.
All right, so there's your USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open Men's Senior Recurve Gold medalist, and Jun Soo-oh will be able to stand on the podium and collect his silver medal for his accomplishments as well. Well, we certainly hope you enjoyed our coverage from Richmond, Virginia, and the USA Archery 2020 U.S. Open. For Braden Galantine and our entire cam crew, thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.
Vince Lombardi once said, winning is not a sometime thing, it's an all-time thing. You don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. I've learned in my career I'm only as good as the tools I use.
12 for Levi Morgan.
One chance, one moment, one shot.